There has been an outrageous oversight on the Earful Tower podcast for 6+ years now, and I've been looking for a chance to rectify it. Why, oh why, have we never even touched on one of the biggest cities in France? Thankfully, this city begins with the exact letter that we're up to in this alphabet season, the AB season, and I figured what better way to give it the nod that it deserves than to head down 2.5 hours on the train from Paris with my wife, who is coincidentally called Lovely Lina, double L, to check out this most beautiful location and share it with you all. Of course, L is for Lyon, or as the tourism board there would say, only Lyon, and I have to agree. Here comes some music from Pres Maxson. So that song called The Angel of Lyon, I'll talk about that again in a second, but first I want to introduce you, Lina.
Well, thank you.
Welcome back. Is it your first time for the... Oh, you did B for Bièvre, I think, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Been a little break.
Anyone who doesn't know who Lina is, it's my wife. She joins me on some of these episodes, including this one where we went down to Lyon, and I think we need to talk about something really important first. How do we pronounce Lyon?
Just like a race car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
Don't you think?
Lyon.
You don't say Lyon, you say Lyon.
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 That's right. And now that we're saying this, it feels like we've done that joke on the podcast before, but how...
Probably,
how
but who's counting?
No one's counting.
No.
But it's a tricky one because in French, it's Lyon. In English, it's Lyon.
Yeah.
Same with Paris and Paris. I think we stick with Lyon.
Less is, I mean, I don't want to be pretentious.
No. You know what else I like about it? The name? Two things. In English, you can spell it with an S at the end, like Marseille.
Yeah.
I like that.
But is it Lyons?
No, it's an unpronounced S.
It's just hanging in the air.
Also, I love that town slogan from the...
Only Lyon?
Because it's an anagram. It's the only anagram town slogan,
No.
I would say, in Western Europe.
Oh, it's very good.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Only Lyon. It says the whole thing. So thumbs up to the tourism board. Not that we had anything to do with them on this episode. So to set the scene, early in the summer, Lina and I got on the train, headed down to Lyon. We've been there a couple times before. But we'd never really given it its due on the show. We've done loads of the other cities. We didn't even go to Lyon on our honeymoon.
No.
Just went right past it.
Yeah, we zoomed past. We just went Lyon past.
But what I think instead of me and you trying to be the experts, I wanted to call someone.
Yeah, I would not dare.
No, I wanted to call someone ahead of time and get the lay of the land before we even met them. So what I did is I called Caroline Connor, who runs Lyon Wine Tastings. And the two of us, we've back and forth on Instagram a little bit in the past. We've always meant to meet up and see what each other does. She's American. She's been there for a while. And I said, Caroline, lay it out for me. 48 hours in Lyon, what do I do?
Yeah, the bucket list.
Essentially. And I said specifically, don't just list restaurants because I know that's sort of, you get that in any guidebook.
I mean, you can only do so many restaurants anyways.
Plus, give me the vibe of the town. And so I sent her that message and I said, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Lay it out for me and we'll follow your itinerary. Here is what she said. And before I press play here, background, Caroline, she's a specialist in wine tastings and she does it. It's in the Croix Rousse neighborhood, and she does wine tastings from her home, which is like this loft apartment.
Very cool.
And because of due to timing, even though we did meet up with her, we didn't do a wine tasting this time, but it's high on my list.
Next time for sure.
Next time. So Wine Dine Caroline, that's her social media handle if you want to check her up while she's talking. But Caroline, take it from here.
Hi, Oliver. I am I'm so excited to meet you. Thank you for asking me about what to do in Lyon. This is what I think you should do if you have 48 hours in Lyon, which is, of course, the culinary capital of France. Really, when you're here, it's about food, it's about wine, it's about going to the market. You have to visit a bouchon. A bouchon is one of the traditional, typical Lyonnais restaurants. Think red checker tablecloths, tiny little wine glasses. An owner with lots of personality is one of the core tenets of a bouchon. And the main dishes you can expect would be the salade lyonnaise, which is a green salad with a poached egg, bacon, and croutons. Andouillette for the brave, which is a tripe sausage that is a specialty here. I'm not into andouillette, so I get the quenelle, which is a fish dumpling in a langoustine sauce, and that's really, really special. Also, if they do have chicken, the chicken here is really, really good. And often it comes from Pres, which is where the fanciest blue-footed chickens come from. It's also worth seeking out some chefier food, too. This was the home of Paul Bocuse, so we have the Institute Bocuse, and that put out a lot of really amazing students who came from all over the world to settle in Lyon and open up their restaurants.
There's Caroline. But first, I need to go back a step. To go forward 2 steps, we need to take a step back. The music that you just heard, Pres Maxson. Pres, he's done it again. For those who are new to this show, I ask our maestro Pres to come up with some music that matches the episode. And in this case, the song that you just heard, these are the words from Pres. He said, "For Lyon, we have a gorgeous tune from American singer-songwriter Tom Russell. In its original form, the tune sounds kind of Springsteen-esque." So, that's weird, because I just said 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Isn't that a Bruce Springsteen song? 1 step up and 2 steps back? Something like that. So my version is less rough and ready. I put a layer of earnest little percussion, then some really gentle piano. I let the bass move around a little more than normal, then substituted the original vocal track for a jazz tone guitar. To me, the result sounds a little more smooth, befitting of a place famous for silk. The song is called The Angel of Lyon. Nice one.
Oh my gosh, Pres.
And Silk comes back in this episode, actually. But the music nailed it as usual. Pres Maxson, you can find him. Just Google. Sometimes people email me and say, "Who's the Max guy?" It's Pres Maxson, PresMaxson. Check him out on social media. Lovely song this week. Now, we won't get to the Silk yet. I want to talk about what Caroline said. The Bouchon restaurants.
Yeah, let's focus on the food.
I don't know why I do it to myself, Lina, but when we go and do these things, I take pleasure in asking for the weirdest food.
I know, you're hardcore.
I don't even enjoy it.
You're a purist.
Why do I do it to myself? I think
you take it upon yourself. To really explore.
Yeah, and usually
I think it's the journalist in you.
Maybe. And I'll put it out there to people. When someone like Caroline says that she doesn't necessarily like something like andouillette, take her advice and don't order it for yourself. I ordered a bunch of things. I said to the guy, all the specialties. He said, "You might not like them at a typical Bouchon restaurant."
And you said, "Nonsense."
Yeah, I said, "Nonsense. Lay them on me." And he was right, and so was Caroline.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, played it a bit smarter.
Yeah, safe and sound.
That quenelle, what was that again?
Quenelle is it was the fish dumpling, sort of.
Yeah.
Which is, it's very hearty food. It's what you picture.
That is
maybe
a good way to describe it.
Hearty.
Yeah, hearty
Yeah,
food.
it's maybe not exactly the food I normally tend to.
No.
Steer towards, but I enjoyed it.
It's an interesting thing with Lyon because, neither you or I consider ourselves foodies.
No.
And I shy away from recommending restaurants, even when I've been to them and I like them, because in the past I have recommended them.
But it's such a personal thing as well.
Even just down to the budget.
Yeah.
People, everybody is so different when it comes to food. So I really, I stand clear of it. But what I think we can focus on a little bit, is the vibe of the restaurant scene there, because it's very different to Paris.
Yeah, it's very buzzing.
Yeah, and there's loads of outside. We were there in the summer, of course, so there's loads of outdoor tables and lots of restaurants in a row, sort of, or in a square.
Yeah, and when you say this, people may be thinking, well, Paris is all about outdoor seating and eating, but I feel like in Paris it's more you sit on a terrace, you're all facing outwards, which I feel like they weren't really doing in Lyon. And, it's more about people watching and taking it easy. And in Lyon it's about, getting the food experience, maybe.
I think you're right. I think Paris it's like this, everyone is on display and everyone is watching everyone on display, like that people watching
exactly.
you talked about.
Yeah, that's
so
what
when I'm
I mean.
thinking what you're sort of talking about, like Rue Claire or Rue Montaguet or
sure, yeah.
whatever, where people are all sitting looking out, it's not that vibe at all.
No.
I don't think people care what's going on around them. Also, I mean, I was going to say, I think it's true for the whole city, way younger than Paris.
Yeah.
Like crazy
It
younger.
felt more like a student town.
It did. It felt like when we were on the honeymoon, so people who haven't listened way back 5 years ago, Lina and I rode a scooter all the way around France, and there were cities like Toulouse and Bordeaux that had that vibe of like youth.
That buzzing. Yeah.
And that also is reflective in the prices. Do you remember? I just remember this.
Yeah.
We went to a bunch of different restaurants, and one we ordered.
It was kind of, we went to, it was later in the evening, and we went to a bar restaurant, I guess. And
and well, it was a studenty kind of, it wasn't a student bar, it was just a student kind of restaurant. And we look at the menu and see the prices for the dishes was something like 8 or 9 euros or something like that per dish. And we're like, okay, these are obviously, it's like tapas or it's like starters or something, because in Paris you don't get anything that cheap. And so we ordered like 3 or 4 each. And then the guy, and it was things like he brought out, he's like, yeah, sure,
like,
sure.
Are you sure? We're like, yeah, it'd be fun.
And so something, it was, the clue was in like it was like burger.
Yeah.
And we thought in Paris, if you
I
get
thought it'd be a mini burger.
Yeah.
It wasn't mini.
it might have even been cheap. I can't remember now. That was, but they brought out so much food that we couldn't. I think we gave it to people on the table next to us.
Yeah. Well, that was a little faux pas on our part.
That was one of our first faux pas there. But it was look, the vibe is great.
It is really nice.
And a note on the chef that she mentioned there. We saw that food hall on the day that we left, and there's something for foodies as well. Paul Bocuse, Bocuse, and it was his Léal. Like it's nothing like the Léal in Paris, but it's like food halls.
Yeah,
specialty food. There's a nice coffee shop in there that we went to.
There is.
But
little
for the
chocolate shops.
Caroline was right.
Nice.
It's a culinary heaven, and if you're more of a foodie than we are, statistically you probably are. You go into the right place. But let's get back to Caroline and see what else she has to say.
Lyon is a city that is super walkable. We call it taille humaine. It is human-sized. And so the best thing to do is wander around the old town. The old town is so beautiful. It's our Renaissance, medieval, rambling, windy little streets. And it is covered in secret passageways called traboules. Traboules were developed during the Renaissance as a way to basically pass through the buildings with your heavy bolts of silk, which was the major industry here. A traboule is a transambulatory, so it is a pedestrian walkway that goes through buildings. And there are 315 of them, at least in Lyon. These kinds of structures exist in other parts of the world, but in Lyon we have the most concentration, and it really is one of the special features of Lyon are these crazy medieval secret passageways.
Traboules. Traboule, I guess in French.
What did you think about them?
Well, I'll tell you, so we met with Caroline as soon as we got there, and we had a chat, and it was great. And her and I got, I was like, I'm really interested in these traboules. And I got really excited about it. And this is my kind of thing, sneaking into courtyards.
Yeah, medieval.
And I got to say, I did love them, and I went a bit haywire looking for them when we were there. But at the same time, so we were there early when we went to the old town and started looking for them. Same time, gotta say, wasn't a fan of the tour groups going through them.
Unfortunately, because the troubles in itself, they're really, I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah. When there are groups of, it was like 20 people with a tour guide with a, like a microphone.
Yeah, and they're all filing through, and they're supposed to be like these small secret passageways, and they're all filing through and kind of queuing.
Yeah, and you had to push past people, or sort of not push past, but you had to sort of be like, excuse me, I'll just pass.
Yeah.
That ruined it a little bit for me.
A little bit. But when we did find ones that were completely empty, it was quite magical.
So I do see the irony of me doing a podcast that's listened to lots of people and telling people to check out something and then saying there are too many people there.
Yeah,
of course. I get that. But I think what I'd say is if you're going to do the same thing, do it early in the morning, or maybe don't go on a tour group. Because the magic, there's a cool Harry Potter kind of vibe to it.
I mean, it's very cool to discover them and find them for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think
that's the best bit.
You don't really get that feeling when you're in a tour group, of course.
Man, we didn't do it, so we can't say for sure. But it didn't. It felt like getting rid of the magic, sort of.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like to me.
A bit.
And it was annoying. But anyway. Besides that, when we went looking for our own ones and found them, there were some that were spectacular. And they just go through and...
really long.
Yeah.
It's like you walk through blocks of buildings.
We had a little cheat sheet as well.
It was very Harry Potter.
It was, wasn't it? We had a cheat sheet because Caroline has a Google Maps thing where she saved her favorite secret ones. And she was quite reluctant to even share it to me. I was like, I'll find them anyway. I'm going to go looking. But so she pointed us in the right direction. Also because we had 48 hours there, not... 8 years like we do in Paris to find all the secrets. But they was cool. There was something really cool about them.
Definitely.
But also just think about the way that you visit them.
Yeah.
After we sort of went on the Traboul thing, I think it's really important to say it's not just about that in the Old Town. I fear maybe people would go there just looking for those bits, but there were loads more things to see. Old churches, like Roman ruins.
And just the buildings, the details on the buildings. There's cobbled streets.
It's really different to like...
not very wheelchair friendly. We discovered because we're pushing Otis around.
Stroller friendly, yeah. It's not good for wheels. Big cobbles.
At least the Old Town.
But I guess this medieval... like, there's nothing like that in Paris where everything's just ancient like that.
No, it's true.
And there's definitely charming.
It
really
was
nice.
very special.
Yeah, so we had a really nice walk around there.
Yeah.
And then I asked Caroline for what else. Give me more walks. That's something I like to do. And so now you're going to hear her talking about a really good walk and a little bit about wine. Here she goes. Here we go.
I think really with 48 hours in Lyon, you just really want to book restaurants. That's the thing. You want to make sure you're going to eat. And our restaurants here are tiny. So you do need to call ahead. You do need to book. That's super important. And then just wander, If it's cold out, you can go to museums. We do have some great museums. But I think the beauty of Lyon is really wandering around and breaking into buildings. The Traboul's are so fun and unique and different. And you can really get a sense of what this city is like. So Lyon is really defined by two big hills and the two rivers. We have the Saône River and the Rhone River. The Old Town is over on the Saône side, and then we have the Presqu'île, which is the peninsula, and that is in between the two rivers. But the Quai du Rhône, that's a really nice area where you can go walk along the river. There's river boats that have nightclubs and burgers and beer, and that's really, really fun. And you can go up to the Parc de la Tête d'Or, which is our really beautiful park. Of course, this is a great city for wine, so while you're here, you have to drink our local wines, which are Beaujolais, Burgundy, and Northern Rhone, and that is really what you're going to find on wine lists. And of course, if you are here for the wine, you've got to come do a wine tasting with me at Lyon Wine Tastings, where I will teach you about all of our local wines. If you are interested in wine, you should definitely come do a tasting with me, but you can also go and visit the vineyards. We have a lot of really great wine tours that go to Beaujolais and the Northern Rhone. My tastings take place in the afternoon. They run for between 2 and 3 hours, so it's a really great way to discover all of the wines around Lyon instead of just visiting one region, and you're not wasting any of your time in the car. I'm Caroline Connor. I run Lyon Wine Tastings, where I teach people about our local wines in English in an afternoon, in an air-conditioned afternoon. in the Croix-Rousse neighborhood in my silk factory turned modern loft apartment. And you can find me on all channels at Wine Dine Caroline.
So there you have it, wine tasting with Caroline. That is absolutely top of my list next time I'm in Lyon.
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely lady, and you met her as well.
Yeah, she's great.
The Rhône, the river. Let's talk about the rivers for a second. The two rivers. The Rhône, really lovely.
It is really lovely.
Really pretty, like nice, so open. Like the Paris river, the Seine, has such big walls, which I can see.
And it's tight.
Yeah, it could be a little imposing when you see this river in Lyon. And it was really open. You get down, you go have a drink on a peniche. Yeah. There was something really lovely about it. I found myself
very nice, very summery. I think we were there at the perfect time. Great weather. It was very nice.
And you can go to where the two rivers meet, the Rhône and the Saône, at the
confluence.
The confluence, which is a really nice big walk. We did a lot of walking, actually.
We did. It's what we always do.
That's what we always do. The Saône and the Rhône. You know what I'd say? I'm probably wrong, but I'd say the Rhône River feels like it runs faster than the Seine.
Stop it.
Like, it looks faster. Yeah,
You should measure it. You should throw in a little bark boat.
A little, yeah.
You know, the bark boats
a boat
of
made of bark.
yesteryear. Do kids do that these days?
Yeah, sure. And then count how far it goes between two bridges.
I'm not that old, by the way.
Final thoughts, I think. Time for final thoughts after 48 hours in Lyon. I liked it. I liked that it was a younger vibe.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, especially we spent 2 years in the 7th arrondissement of Paris, where when we moved into our building, we brought down the average age by 45 years or something.
Yeah, that's true.
I felt like it was a nice, fresh vibe. Young people...
rejuvenated.
I did a little bit.
But I think it's nice. I think it was really nice mix because, there is this young, fresh vibe because of the people and all this, maybe students or younger people and the whole culture of sitting and eating out and late as well. But at the same time, this is all happening in a very old city, in a medieval setting. So it's... It's got the mix.
Yeah. It's got the mix that we love so well. I think if you're considering a trip to Lyon, if you're even halfway interested in food, it should be a no-brainer already. But I think if you're doing one of those big trips to Paris, you should definitely consider it.
Between 2 and 2.5 hours on a train, it's really, it's very doable.
And I'll say something kind of negative to finish off. May I?
Yeah, I guess.
Well... When we've been to Lyon three times now, and when I've looked back on each of the trips, I've never really I can't put my finger on something the same way I can in almost every other French town. It could be that I'm not a food guy, but like when I think about when we've been to other places, my mind goes straight back to something.
Right.
And with Lyon, it's sort of more of a...
Maybe it's too big. Maybe it's like it's a really big city and it's losing the charm of a smaller place, or it's not.
Yeah,
does it move into like just a big city?
Maybe,
kind of...
but it doesn't have that like the character, maybe it doesn't have the same character that like a bigger city like Paris does, or Marseille or Bordeaux or something.
Interesting.
But anyway, that's something to ponder about. I don't think that I don't know what would be on the postcards from Lyon that makes people around the world go, yeah, that's Lyon.
Yeah.
Because food, restaurant, it's so like esoteric. Like,
True.
what are you going to get on your plate? What is an andouillette? There's something, you know what I mean? Like,
of course.
Whereas Eiffel Tower and Arc de Triomphe, Champs-Élysées, in big cities, like you know exactly what you're going to get. So there's a bit of a...
it's food for thought.
Yeah, because let's face it, we're not getting paid by the tourism board of Lyon. We can say whatever the heck we like. Speaking of getting paid, this show runs thanks to the Patreon supporters, patreon.com/The Earful Tower. We don't do ads. We give honest reviews of everything. So if you like it and you want to see it continue, thrive, we never would have done a trip to Lyon in the early days, that's for sure.
No, that's an investment.
Yes. So, become a member. There's always lots of extra content for the members, and you get that warm, fuzzy feeling that you're helping a small business to succeed and survive. On that note, a big shout out to Pres Maxson as well. A big shout out to Caroline Connor. And a big shout out to Lovely Lina when it comes to the letter L.
Oh, you charmer.
Hopefully you can be on the podcast again before the end of the season.
We'll see.
Otherwise, everyone else, the letter M is next week. There have been no clues, so good luck guessing. I'll see you then. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
And au revoir.